Over the history of military leadership, certain generals have left a notorious legacy due to their brutal tactics, war crimes, and widespread atrocities. These leaders, often driven by ambition and power, orchestrated some of the most heinous acts of violence, targeting civilians and soldiers alike. Their campaigns of terror, marked by massacres, ethnic cleansing, and severe human rights abuses, have left indelible scars on the regions they sought to dominate. From genocidal actions and war crimes to corrupt dealings and oppressive regimes, their actions brought about immense human suffering and long-lasting impacts. Their eventual fates, ranging from execution and imprisonment to living without facing justice, further underscore the controversial and infamous nature of their legacies. General James Wilkinson. General James Wilkinson served in the U.S. Army during the late 18th and early 19th centuries. He is infamous for his corrupt dealings and double-agent activities, secretly working for the Spanish government while holding a high rank in the U.S. military. Wilkinson's actions included sabotaging American policies and spying on behalf of Spain, compromising U.S. security. His treachery came to light after his death, revealing the extent of his betrayal. Despite holding significant roles in early American history, Wilkinson's legacy is tainted by his deceit and self-serving actions. Wilkinson died of natural causes in 1825, escaping direct punishment for his numerous acts of betrayal and leaving behind a legacy marred by corruption and double-dealing. General Francisco Franco. General Francisco Franco led the nationalist forces during the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, and ruled Spain as a dictator until his death in 1975. Franco's forces committed numerous atrocities during the war, including mass executions and the targeting of civilian populations. After his victory, Franco established a repressive regime marked by censorship, political repression, and human rights abuses. Tens of thousands were executed or imprisoned during his rule, and his policies led to widespread suffering. Franco's legacy is one of brutality and authoritarianism, with his actions leaving a lasting impact on Spain's history. Franco died of natural causes in 1975, having never faced justice for his numerous human rights abuses. General Manuel Noriega. General Manuel Noriega ruled Panama with an iron fist from 1983 to 1989. Initially a U.S. ally, he became infamous for his involvement in drug trafficking, money laundering, and political repression. His regime was marked by brutality, including the suppression of political opponents and widespread corruption. Noriega's links to the drug cartels and his oppressive tactics led to his downfall when the U.S. invaded Panama in 1989, capturing and extraditing him to face charges. Noriega's corrupt and violent rule left Panama in turmoil and significantly damaged his country's international reputation. Noriega was convicted and served prison sentences in the U.S., France, and Panama, dying in 2017. General Hideki Tojo. General Hideki Tojo served as Prime Minister of Japan during World War II and was a key architect of Japan's militaristic and expansionist policies. Tojo was responsible for initiating brutal campaigns across Asia, including the invasions of China, Southeast Asia, and the Pacific Islands. His leadership was marked by atrocities such as the Nanking Massacre and the abuse of prisoners of war. Tojo's aggressive military strategies and disregard for human life resulted in the deaths of millions. After Japan's defeat, he was tried and executed for war crimes. Tojo was hanged in 1948, leaving a legacy of brutality and devastation that makes him one of history's most infamous military leaders. General Augusto Pinochet. General Augusto Pinochet led a coup d'etat in Chile in 1973, overthrowing the democratically elected government. Pinochet's regime, which lasted until 1990, was marked by severe human rights abuses, including torture, forced disappearances, and extrajudicial killings. His infamous Caravan of Death and other operations targeted political opponents, resulting in thousands of deaths and disappearances. Pinochet's brutal crackdown on dissent and his authoritarian rule left deep scars on Chilean society. Despite his claims of economic progress, his legacy is overshadowed by the widespread repression and human suffering he caused. Pinochet was arrested in London in 1998, but returned to Chile and died in 2006 without being fully prosecuted for his crimes. General Ratko Mladic, a Bosnian Serb military leader during the Bosnian War, 1992 to 1995, is infamous for orchestrating the Srebrenica massacre, where over 8,000 Bosniak men and boys were killed. Mladic's forces also besieged Sarajevo, resulting in the deaths of thousands of civilians through shelling and sniper attacks. His campaign of ethnic cleansing aimed at creating a greater Serbia led to widespread atrocities and war crimes. After years of evading capture, Mladic was arrested in 2011 and later convicted of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity by the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. Mladic was sentenced to life imprisonment in 2017, leaving behind a legacy marked by horror and tragedy. General Yakubu Gowon led Nigeria during the Biafran War, 1967 to 1970, where his military strategies and policies resulted in significant atrocities. Gowon's blockade of Biafra caused a devastating famine, leading to the deaths of an estimated 2 million civilians, mostly children, from starvation and disease. His military tactics included widespread destruction and the targeting of civilian populations. Although Gowon initially came to power with promises of unity and progress, his regime's brutal handling of the Biafran secession and the resulting humanitarian crisis have left a dark legacy. After being overthrown in 1975, Gowon went into exile, but later returned to Nigeria, living without facing direct consequences for the war's atrocities. General Tomoyuki Yamashita, known as the Tiger of Malaya, served in the Imperial Japanese Army during World War II. He led the successful invasion of British-held Malaya and Singapore, but is infamous for the atrocities committed under his command in the Philippines. His troops were responsible for widespread massacres, including the Manila Massacre, where tens of thousands of civilians were killed. After the war, Yamashita was tried and executed for war crimes. His brutal tactics and disregard for civilian lives cemented his reputation as one of the most infamous and ruthless military leaders of the war. Yamashita was hanged in 1946, with his name forever linked to the horrific war crimes committed under his command. General Tamerlane, also known as Timur, was a 14th century conqueror whose campaigns left a trail of death and destruction across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. Tamerlane's invasions were marked by extreme brutality, including the mass slaughter of civilians and the destruction of entire cities. His conquest of Delhi in 1398 resulted in the massacre of its inhabitants, and his campaign against the Ottoman Empire included the horrific sacking of Baghdad. Tamerlane's ruthless tactics and disregard for human life resulted in the deaths of millions, making him one of history's most infamous military leaders. His legacy is one of fear and devastation, with his actions leaving a lasting impact on the regions he conquered. General Agha Mohammad Yahya Khan. Yahya Khan, Pakistan's president and army chief during the Bangladesh Liberation War of 1971, oversaw brutal military operations in East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. His forces committed widespread atrocities, including mass killings, rapes, and the displacement of millions. The genocide resulted in the deaths of an estimated 1 million to 3 million Bengalis. Yahya Khan's regime attempted to suppress the independence movement through extreme violence, leading to international condemnation. Following Pakistan's defeat in the creation of Bangladesh, Yahya Khan was forced to resign and lived under house arrest until his death in 1980. His leadership is remembered for its extreme brutality and the massive human suffering it caused. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons below.